So what's up, YouTube family? We out here with Marcio. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Okay, my name's Marcio, and
How old are you, Marcio?
I'm 41 and from New York City.
Okay, okay, what were you gonna say?
Born and raised in New York City,
All right, what borough?
in Manhattan.
Okay, so Marcy, what got you out here in these Nook streets?
Well, basically, I started doing crack and started stealing from my mother, and I was living in Pocono, so she threw me out of the house. Now I'm living in my car.
Living in your car now?
Yes,
Okay, so how long have you been doing crack?
only 6 months or so.
Who turned you on to it?
Somebody I met in a neighborhood where they do it.
A female?
Yes,
Okay. So, how long have you been dealing with this issue?
only about 6, 8 months, between 6 to 8 months. But it's been on and off. I took 6 weeks of. I was sober for 6 weeks and then I started again. So it's been on and off for about 8 months, maybe.
Okay. So, what would you say got you going back and forth with this drug thing?
I don't know. Still, I think it's experimentation, curiosity, and lacking peace for such a long time in my life, and thinking that was the answer to finding peace. And
Any childhood trauma?
probably, maybe,
Molestation?
no, none of that. Just I was told I had a bad childhood. I'm not sure why. Up to 12, I was a pretty happy kid, so I don't know why I was told that. But
Who told you that?
an aunt I have.
Your aunt? Your aunts?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So, were you employed in New York when you were living in New York?
No, I did odd jobs. I did. My father's a landlord. When he would need help, he would call me and stuff.
Okay. All right. So, do you have any siblings?
Yes, a brother and a sister.
Okay. All right. So, what do you think that you can do to better your life? Like to get off this crack and get yourself to a place where you're self-sufficient, self-supportive.
I know I question everything. It's still hard to believe because some people, the person who turned me on to this was on it 15 years, and I think I saw her bank statement once on her table. I don't know if it was hers or one of her friends. She was at her house, and she seemed like she had $90,000 in her bank account, and I never had more than $7,000 in my bank account in life. So I still question everything, like if crack is the reason people really go broke. Because a lot of people in Hollywood do it, and they still have a lot of money unless there's something I don't know that goes on there that I don't know about because I don't know everything.
Well, I can tell you this. If you smoke crack, no matter what you have, if you continue to smoke it, you will lose it. You will definitely lose it. It'll be a matter of time, but you'll definitely lose it. They call some of these they have selective names for addicts, whereas there's the what do you call them? The frequent users, the users that use with like far as the weekend users, you know what I'm saying? And there's really no such thing in that. If you use, you use.
Well, my life has gotten worse, but I know I'm still being hard-headed. I am very hard-headed. I'm not easy to control. I'm very hard to control, very outspoken about things in life. And I know if my hard-headedness is going to make my situation get worse, I'm already living in my car. But some people say you're lucky you even have a car right now. It's all messed up. But people did that to me. I lent it to the wrong people and left.
You sold your car out?
No, I didn't sell it. I let people drive in. They messed up my car, broke a few mirrors already. Somebody even threw a brick through my window, and I had to get into my own car. Somebody ran off with my keys, and I had to throw a brick through my own car window to get back in the car because they were gone for 5 or 6 hours, and I was outside, and people started getting annoyed in the neighborhood. And they're telling me, "What are you doing outside? You don't sit outside people's house." And I told them they locked me out of the car. Nobody could help me. I was looking for cops outside, and they were nowhere to be seen. So I didn't want to leave my car too far because if I did, they could have taken off with the car. So I wasn't able to leave far looking for the cops. I could look like in a 2-block and around the block, like that's all I could do. And so.
So what's the worst that has ever happened to you since you've been in Newark? As far as with
Doing
drugs?
crack and stuff.
Yeah.
They tried to run me over with my old car once, and they threatened to stab me twice already. And So that's the worst that's happened so far.
Okay, so what's the 24 hours like for you here in Newark?
I don't know, just sit in my car, and if I don't have it on me, sometimes I try and make money for it, but there's days I actually do I stay away from it sometimes 2-3 days at a time. I do.
So
I don't
what?
have,
Mhm.
and then after a while, I just think about it, and all of a sudden I want to do it again, and I try to do it again, and I try to find ways to do it, and
Yeah, but don't you know that it's only going to get worse for you if you continue to use?
well, I know I'm a very hard head. I know if it's gonna get worse. I know I already got it bad living in my car. I know that people tell me here end up on the street losing the car. They already put a junk car sign on my car, like they're telling me I should sell it, but I still have the hopes I can at least sleep in the car because I'm thankful I at least have a car to sleep in, even though. And me, I'm really not a very materialistic person, and I know there's worse people on the streets have to find ways to survive, and it's harder for them than it is for me. So, because I don't trust going to homeless shelters much, because they say people do get robbed because there are drug addicts in there that rob and steal, and it's one reason I don't like being in there and going to homeless shelters, because I heard stories of people being robbed for drugs and stuff in that place. So I'm thankful I have my car, but hopefully I don't lose the car.
Yeah.
It's always going down because of lack of gas in the car, because the money funds is short and stuff for me. And
So what are you going to do to change your situation?
well, people told me get out of the neighborhood. I don't know why they would try to warn me though, because they're addicted themselves. Why are you trying to warn me? I know how I'm not a preacher.
Sometimes it's not the messenger, it's the message.
That they're telling me they ruined their lives and they're taking responsibility, but I'm not taking responsibility right now. I'm blaming everything around me for it instead of taking responsibility for it.
Right.
Well, it's true. I think sometimes you really have to fall hard, though. Some people say you haven't fallen hard enough that you're not saying what it's true. I know, I think it's because I lack peace for 30 years. I have a movement disorder, which you probably noticed on camera. I twitch and stuff. And because of that, I think that's what led me, even though the alcohol helps with it, I don't know, maybe I want more peace. And I was a functional alcoholic, and now I'm looking for something that I think could give me more peace, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it
There's
ain't.
no such thing as a functional addict or alcoholic.
You don't believe that?
Absolutely not.
I kind of do.
I'm a ex-addict, and I used just like you did. I lived to use and used to live, and I can tell you, and it started off recreation, and I can tell you, there's no such thing.
See, I try not to judge people. I know the Bible says remove the speck out of your eye before you move it out of the others. That's why I try.
And you're such a smart guy. Like, you got to get yourself in a place where, you get like, are you spiritual?
I used to read Bible a lot. I read it about more than 5 times in my life, so I have read the Bible a lot, so I could quote a lot of verses, but they say sometimes people listen to it, but they don't do what the Bible says, so they end up in trouble. I know a lot of people are probably going to say that about my situation because I'm listening.
Well, nobody's here to judge you, so that we're going to start with that. No, there's no judgment here.
Well,
This is more like, what I'm going to say to you, it's more like, we're cut off from society. This is the dark side of society. And that's what I'm trying to bring awareness to. People don't understand the disease of addiction. They just think people just roll out the bed one day and say, oh, I want to be an addict or a crackhead. And that's not the case at all,
Yeah,
and it takes a lot of courage for you to tell your story, because you could save someone else's life doing this.
Well, I know, because
that's the goal here. There's no judgment.
Because I know a lot of people that have done it have been raped in life, and they say trauma. Sometimes when you heal from trauma of whatever happened to you, they say that everyone has a reason. It's not an excuse, because some people have been raped and probably never done it. But they say when you heal from trauma, a lot of people get off, and that's why I don't judge people who do it. And even though there's probably worse addicts than me, and I don't
Absolutely.
think
There's no big I's and little U's in this. We're all in it together.
Yeah.
Now, if you could speak to the youth today, the younger generation that's going down the road that you went down, what is it that you would tell them?
I don't know, to analyze the situation before you do it, but I'm not being judgmental. It brought me to this situation too, because the girl who was doing it, she was worse. She had heroin injections. I never did the injection, but I hung around long enough with her. My tradition doesn't allow me to do that a lot, but I don't know, I'm being too nice, I guess. People tell me you're too nice. Sometimes she told me to run away too, and I didn't, so I don't blame her for what I'm doing. I've got to blame myself, because she told me not to hang around with her. But I guess because I'm not very judgmental, I guess be careful who you hang out with, because you become just like them too, because now I'm just like the people who do it too. So,
Okay.
So if you want to stay off it, you shouldn't hang around people who do it. Then that's my
Okay.
advice.
Now, if your family or some friends came across this video, what is it that you want to say to them?
I don't know. I can't apologize to them because they don't understand it. They've never done it. A lot of my friends are family, because I come from a very traditional background, Portuguese, where they don't accept this a lot. And I can't apologize because my mother she's on sleeping pills for about 20 years, and I asked her if that's as much addiction as what I do, and she told me no, it's prescribed. It is. And so I don't know. I don't know if it's just a guilty conscience that does this, but I can't apologize to my family and friends because they don't understand. I just say,
Don't
if it's
judge.
God's will, maybe I'll get off of it if He sees that because I do believe faith. I do have a lot of faith, and my faith will get me out of this situation more than
Absolutely.
anything. That's what
Absolutely.
faith more than anything. Walk not by sight, by faith, and
Absolutely. And you have to do your part as well.
yeah.
You have to do your part as well. So, okay, we're going to wrap this up. I wish you nothing but the best. You know?
Okay,
And
thank you.
yes, and you know what it is that you have to do. You know. So, we're just going to wrap this up, and I thank you so much, because it takes a lot of courage to tell your story. It's not an easy thing to do. And I
Thank you.
appreciate you for sharing it with us. Thank you so much. and have a
Thank you
good day.
too. You
A
too.
blessed day.
You
okay?
too.
All right.